Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings Today TV, and welcome to year 2022. As we speak, the elder statesmen, especially from the southwest and other parts of Nigeria, have taken an evaluation of what has been happening in Nigeria, and they are very objective. In fact, talk about being very plain with the truth. They did not mince words. They took a little excerpt of what is going on in Nigeria, and they have decided to tell Nigerians the way it is. In fact, they predicted 3 things that will happen in Nigeria. Said if the first one happens the way they predicted, the Nigerians should expect the second and the third to happen without questioning, judging the fact that Nigeria have gone through a lot when it comes to the issue of insecurity and economic distress. Before we go into the news proper, like you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. This is an interview, a set of an interview from Fulani, one of the elder statesmen, before this era, of course, and he's not messy. Well, I'm going to take the more relevant ones, then subsequently we'll go through the introduction. They asked him a question, said, are you then saying that, because he asked a lot of questions, what's the issue of, what's the fate of Nigeria when it comes to the issue of power shift come 2023? And this was his response. So we should be concerned about where power should go as an objective person, whether it should be through an election in an unstructured Nigeria, but that is my own perception. It may well happen. God is in charge of the whole universe. I believe that all changes and restructuring people have been advocating this many years. I've always believed that it will not happen until and unless and except there is a crisis, when the question will be, where do we go from here? A crisis can come in the next 12 to 15 months if 2 things happen. One of them is sure to happen. The second one is what we don't know. But if the second one happens, then we'll have a crisis that will force us to rethink Nigeria. What are the 2 things? First, if and when the tenure of the current president comes to an end, we know that it will come to an end. We know the date. It is not a prayer or a wish. May 29, 2023. That, by God's grace, will happen. That is the first condition. The second condition is that if the first situation does not permit the election of a replacement president, then the old president is gone. A new one cannot be elected, a first-class crisis solution to the Nigerian problem. At that point, every section of Nigeria will be free to say there is no more federal government. That is my view. What is the probability of that happening? One of the 2 conditions will happen. I have not heard that Buhari wants a 3rd term. I hope there is no attempt to impose a 3rd term on us. So the first condition will happen. It is more likely to happen. The second one is not unlikely. It will happen. Then if the 2 happens together, that is when restructuring is automatic. If there is no government in Abuja and there is a government in Ondo State, there is a government in Kano State and other states, that is the government. Let's talk about the many agitations across the country. They asked him, especially in Southwest and Southeast, do they portray danger for 2023 general elections? This was the response he gave. Self-determination is a movement that force cannot stop. In my book, I addressed it and I gave copies to the federal government, but they won't read it. I said in that book that since the collapse of international communism, the collapse of the Berlin Wall, and the disintegration of the Soviet Union, a new thing has become a dominant force in international relations, and that is ethnic self-determination. Exemplified, for example, in Europe by Bosnia and Herzegovina war in the very heart of Europe. The area of Europe is called the Balkans. That was the center point of the Roman Empire. But in the course of history, they broke into smaller pieces. The 19th century was the period that brought smaller entities to create larger entities in Europe because of the competition for colonialism and access to raw materials in the colonies. That was how Germany evolved under Bismarck. It was Bismarck and others who brought various German principalities together in Germany. It was the age of aggregation. Similar entities were coming together to be able to compete for colonies and raw materials because the Industrial Revolution was taking place in Europe. But since then, with the collapse of communism, those smaller entities have been agitating for self-identity, especially in Balkans. Then I asked him another question. He said, they asked him this. Akeredolu was the first to commission the first batch of Amotekun trainees. Again, to show support, what did you do? This was the answer he gave. He said, I was present at the passing out parade, and then again, when they were going to pass the anti-open grazing law, they sent the draft to me. They passed it, although Mighty Allah and Herdsmen boasted that they will not obey the law, that they are Nigerians and Ondo State is part of Nigeria, that they have every right to do what they like. Since the law was passed, I have not seen a single cattle or Fulani from here to my farm. They have disappeared. Let them come back and break the law, and enforcement agents will arrest them, take them to court, and send them to prison. So I think Governor Akeredolu has done a very good work, and the security he's enforcing in the state capital right now encourages people to relax during this New Year period. Political gladiators are rolling up their sleeves ahead of 2023 general election. What's your advice to these players? They asked him. This was the answer. My advice is that no election should be conducted until and unless some fundamental amendments are made. I am not saying that they should do the full restructuring that I have been advocating, but a few fundamental amendments, particularly in the area of security and how elections are conducted and results transmitted. But this question, probably people will wonder, who is Olufaya Alaye? Well, Chief Olufaya Alaye was secretary to the government of the Federation, SGF, before serving as finance minister under the military regime. Later, he joined the presidential race first under the Babangida regime transition and later under the Abdulsalami Abubakar program to return Nigeria to civil rule. In this interview, Falaye reacted to some claims made by former governor of Osun State, Chief Bisi Akande, in his recent launch autobiography titled My Participation. Now, you now understand what Nigerians are saying. A lot of Nigerians have reacted to this. Now, first of all, let's start with one or two things he said. He said it by, giving a lot of kudos to Akeredolu for, at the beginning, people just felt, what is Akeredolu really doing? Is he going to make headway by making laws and all that? Even at some point, Mitiala challenged Akeredolu and the southwestern states. But today, in Ondo State, especially in the capital city, if you move around with your cow, it's now a law. Because the Mitiala guys were saying, Ondo is in Nigeria, and Nigeria have a law which overrides the state law. But, Akeredolu said, what? The land belongs to the people. Based on the same law, and the people have the final say. You can do anyhow you like in other states, but in those states, this is our law. If you don't like it, if you break it, you are a culprit, and you face the full wrath of the law. That notwithstanding, and they are aligning bit by bit. And they still say, they say, look, in the bigger picture of Nigeria, don't forget there's agitation going on. Insecurity is already there. The issue of would there be a third term, and the issue of the fact that if there will not be a third term, would there be truly an election come 2023? All this he answered in the accept. Let's meet in a comment section. What's your take? Well, these are permutations that we cannot remove, except we are actually